I'm the proud mayor of Oakland. It is very exciting that you are all joining us today for a historic announcement. Today, Oakland, California launches one of the largest guaranteed income demonstrations to date in the nation. 600 Oakland families will receive $500 a month with no strings attached for 18 months. Today begins our community engagement process to encourage all low-income BIPOC families to apply for the chance to be randomly selected to participate. We today have all the private funds raised and the implementation partners in place to get checks in the hands of these deserving families as early as this spring and summer. Our vision is an Oakland that has closed the racial wealth gap and where all families thrive. And we believe that guaranteed income is the most transformative policy that can achieve this vision and whose time has come. We believe that poverty is not personal failure, it is policy failure. Our social safety net and even low-wage jobs are not sufficient to meet a family's basic needs, nor propel them along their path to self-sufficiency. An unconditional cash payment is the simple solution that can meet the full complexity of each family's needs. Now, our pilot is 600 families in Oakland. We know that that does not come close to meeting the need in Oakland nor in the nation, where more than 34 million Americans live in poverty. But today, Oakland joins with cities across this great nation, from Stockton to Shreveport to St. Paul, from Compton to Columbia, where demonstration projects will be working in unison to create a body of evidence that provides the unequivocal evidence that says guaranteed income is a policy that must be adopted at the federal level. It is my pleasure to introduce the implementation partner for Oakland's guaranteed income demonstration, which we are so proud to announce is called Oakland Resilient Families. And appropriately, to lead this effort is the Family Independence Initiative, a national organization that was actually born in Oakland and is led by CEO Jesus Herrera. Thank you so much for being here today, Jesus. And please take it away and tell us how this incredible demonstration project will be implemented right here in Oakland.
Thank you so much, Mayor Schaaf, and we're so proud to be in partnership with you and the Mayors for Guaranteed Income to be able to launch this pilot today and get these dollars moving directly into the hands of people quickly. And so just wanted to give a little bit of background about the Family Independence Initiative. As you mentioned, it's rooted here in Oakland, founded 20 years ago, and with a simple belief that people were the best solution. Those who have been struggling in poverty with low incomes are the ones who are already creating those solutions that we are not recognizing or investing in. And that is because in the US, our systems and policies, as you noted, are created by design to hold Black and brown people back economically. This is based on the belief that low-income people aren't worthy of investment because they aren't educated or don't know how to handle money. And the evidence shows otherwise. Of people living at or below the poverty line, within a 4-year period of time, 75% of them will actually move above that line. Within 5 years, because they're not being seen or invested for the initiative and creativity, they fall back in. And these are the vicious cycles that we continue to see and perceive poverty to be a stagnant position. At FII, instead, we are promoting a strength-based approach that is really centered on 3 key principles. One is the value of community, social networks, and the way that people are supporting one another to be able to seek and find success for themselves. Number 2 is that direct unrestricted cash investment. And the last is autonomy, choice, is that people who are closest to these challenges have the best answers, as I mentioned already, are continuously creating solutions for themselves. We are doing this through our platform, Up Together, which is online, and you can visit it at uptogether.org to be able to join one of the 600,000 members that we have across the country. Now, this pilot, the Oakland Resilient Families, is designed to tackle the existing racial income gap. We know that the Oakland Equity Index that families of color experience the greatest income disparities in the city, with these households making nearly with white households making nearly 3 times median income of black households. Families of colors have also been the hardest hit by COVID-19, experiencing higher rates of COVID-19 in addition to the loss of income, employment, and housing. We also want to recognize that this pilot is built on a legacy. Guaranteed income has been a goal of the Black Panther platform since its founding. Demands for direct investment in the community in response to systemic injustices isn't new, and it is organized efforts like our partnership with the Mayors for Guaranteed Income that will push our country to create real change. Now, to demonstrate the impact of our investment, FII, in partnership with the Mayor's Office and the Mayors for Guaranteed Income, as well as through advisement from community organizations, designed the pilot as follows. We will enroll 600 BIPOC families in Oakland living with low income and will receive $500 a month or 18 months. Going directly to people, the funding is secure. Of these 600 households, there will be 2 groups. First group is targeting East Oakland residents. We're focusing in East Oakland due to the high concentration of eligible families and because it has been cited as one of the worst COVID-19 hotspots in the Bay Area. By concentrating in this group of participants in one neighborhood, we will have a deeper learning about the community level impact of the cash investment and how community members are supporting one another. The second group, open to a more broadly Oakland residents, will be built in the vast network of MGI cities, amassing evidence with the goal of federal adoption of guaranteed income. Now, application for both of those groups will be online, multilingual, and it won't be on a first come, first served basis. It will actually be randomized, so anybody at any time who is able to apply will be considered to be able to receive payments. Cash payments are 100% unrestricted and unconditional, and we plan to launch the first group this spring and then the second later in the summer. Throughout the pilot, we will be learning directly from families through surveys and in partnership with external evaluators. These are some of the areas we will learn about. We know from our 20 years of investing in families and through studies such as our colleagues in Stockton through the SEED pilot that this type of investment works. Participating families thrive. Through this pilot, we are adding to the national body of evidence, building to learn from the unique strengths of Oakland families and to examine guaranteed income through the lens of racial equity. We will share this learning as well as stories from participants publicly throughout the course of the pilot. And lastly, I just want to end with a note or a story from one of our past participants. FII distributed our Oakland Equity Fund, through which we invested in 65 Black community leaders in the last couple of months. One leader shared her story with us that she was a domestic abuse survivor who had been living without a home for over the last year. And she led in her community by helping other women experiencing domestic violence to deal with their situation and provide hope. Once COVID hit, she began taking action in her community by organizing pop-up testing sites. And she shared with us that she would be utilizing her unrestricted cash investment to house her families. And again, these are one of the many examples of how people are supporting and building community with one another. And if we just continue to recognize and invest in that, we know that that power will only be amplified. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Mike Tubbs, who has been our founder and launched Mayors for Guaranteed Income last summer, to share more about their efforts.
Thank you so much, Jesus, for your leadership. Thank you, Mayor Schaaf, for your leadership, and thank you, who I'll be introducing after my remarks, the good Councilmember Taylor. And thank you all for being here. I am hella proud of Oakland today. I think Jesus mentioned sort of the legacy in which we're talking about in terms of the Black Panthers, in terms of Dr. King, in terms of National Welfare Organization, in terms of Thomas Paine in the late 1700s, and in terms of 50 mayors across this country today are part of Mayors of Guaranteed Income and are saying that we truly believe the most important investment we can make as a government is an investment directly to our people. I think the mayor said it best. Part of this demonstration in Oakland and demonstrations throughout this nation is really to reckon with the fact that we understand the issue isn't that people don't work. The issue isn't that people don't want to work. The issue is that the economy does not work for people. I especially appreciate the explicit focus on racial justice in this demonstration, because we understand that civil rights has always been about protection, not just from police brutality, but also from the brutality of poverty, the brutality of economic insecurity, the brutality of not being able to know if your bills will be paid every month, and not because you're not working hard. And I remember 3 years ago when we launched our pilot in Stockton, people were saying that people were going to stop working. People were saying that people were going to spend all the money on drugs and alcohol. People were saying that folks would just make bad decisions with money, that we would become a different country by providing the dignity that comes with economic security. And the data that came out 3 weeks ago from the pilot shows that all those things are false, that people were actually able to work more because they had a little bit of money, a little bit of breathing room to go and pay for childcare, to fix a transmission, to buy interview clothes, to take a day off, part-time work. We found that people were healthier. People were able to show up as parents, as partners, and as neighbors, which is what government is designed for us to do. And people are also able to weather the impacts that come. We know that COVID-19 has hit all of us, especially hard. And we know that for a lot of us, we live in a time of pandemics, that before COVID-19, folks in Stockton, folks in Oakland, folks across this country were struggling. And we know that we live in a time of pandemics. If it's not a COVID, it's an earthquake, it's a wildfire, it's a flood. And Oakland's leadership is really illustrating what it takes to build economic resiliency. So again, as the former mayor of Stockton, not too far away from Oakland, I have to say I'm just incredibly proud of the leadership. And we know that Oakland is where the future happens. When we think of sort of Wakanda, when we think of sort of culture, when we think in terms of championships, Oakland is always top of mind. So again, having Oakland lead the charge and Mayor Schaaf lead the charge in terms of a guaranteed income, not just as a pilot, but as a policy. And I'll end with saying I think it's encouraging the leadership of groups like FI, the leadership of folks like Mayor Schaaf and Mayor Taylor and the other mayors and mayors guaranteed income. But let's also be very, very clear. The fact that mayors are piloting and using political capital to raise capital to allow their constituents to have the basic necessities is a policy failure. It's an admission that the status quo isn't working. It's an admission that we have to do something. It's a mission that we need to do more. And that's why I'm so excited about moving from pilots to policy, particularly with an advocate like Mayor Schaaf. So with that, I'll turn it over to my brother, the great councilman from Oakland, someone who's a fearless fighter for people, someone who understands the need to treat everyone with dignity, and someone who trusts his constituents with the agency and the opportunity to make the best decisions for themselves and their families. And that's my good friend, Councilman Taylor.
Thank you. It is exciting to be here, helping to announce the largest guaranteed income pilot in the country right here in Oakland. To Mayor Tubbs, thank you for leading the country both through your successful pilot in Stockton and also by founding the Mayors for Guaranteed Income and making sure that we are moving forward in unison across the country as we demonstrate the potential of this amazing resource. Thanks to Mayor Schaaf, whose vision and tenacity has helped to keep Oakland at the forefront of innovations that can help transform not only our city, but also help lead social innovation, social justice across the country. I also have to acknowledge the incredible support and partnership of the Family Independence Initiative. Thank you, Jesus, Blue Meridian Partners, and Oakland Thrives. As the council representative for District 6 in East Oakland, I represent the district with the largest number of Black people from any district here in Oakland. My district is plagued with higher unemployment, lower net income, and greater health disparities than other parts of Oakland and other parts of the Bay Area. When I think of what guaranteed income can mean to Oaklanders, especially those in my district, I can't help but think of the young high school student living in East Oakland, showing amazing potential for the STEM fields, or maybe it's the arts or even athletics, but can't participate in those enrichment activities because he or she must rush to a part-time job to help pay the bills for his or her family. I also think of the mom who worries so much about keeping a roof over her family's head that her chronic health conditions flare up, putting further stress on their entire household. I'm confident that a guaranteed income will have an incredible impact on the near-term and long-term financial position, as well as the near-term and longer-term health of Oaklanders and those who participate. Guaranteed income is based on the belief that those in poverty are best able to identify what they need to escape that poverty. If someone's tethered to a life of poverty, we can't untether them by tying them down with more strings. And it's because of that, I'm excited about this no strings attached support that's being offered by Oakland Resilient Families initiative that will help Oaklanders better realize their potential. Unfortunately, the first obstacle that underserved communities, underrepresented communities face in access to is accessing and awareness of programs like this. And that is why I was excited to join in partnership with Mayor Schaaf, MGI, FII, and others to ensure that we made these resources available, accessible, and readily there for those who we're trying to most serve, our Black, Indigenous, people of color who are most at risk of these disparities and poverty indicated in our Oakland Equities Indicator Report. So in partnership with local community organizations and government leaders, the Oakland Resilient Families Initiative will continue incorporating community feedback on the design and the implementation. There will be opportunities that include multilingual outreach, socially distanced in-person and online presentations, tabling at community events, focus groups with eligible families being compensated for their time. We're also going to be knocking on doors, going to the ground, to the streets. While traditional outreach often comes up short, I'm confident that with the leadership, with our community engagement and involvement, we will bring relief and hope to those who have not had the chance to benefit from the same prosperities that others have here in Oakland and across the Bay Area. We've already engaged with a number of partner organizations and are reaching out, soliciting partnership from others as well. I'll close in acknowledging that while I'm super excited about the benefits that a guaranteed income pilot will have right here in Oakland, in East Oakland, I'm even more excited about what we will learn and how we will contribute to that greater body of knowledge that will allow us to scale successful guaranteed income pilots broadly across the country and erase the deep-rooted inequity that persists here in the United States. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Taylor.